Hi, guys. Welcome back to Freedom Brigade Nation. Well, guys, it's such an honor today. If you noticed, Andrea has changed a little bit. She's gotten a little bulkier, lost some hair. Tom is standing in for Andrea today. It's great. Tom, thank you. Andrea's on vacation with her kids, and I'm excited for her. Thanks for filling in.
No, it's awesome. I get to hang out with you guys. I've been missing a lot of the shows lately, so I'm glad to be here.
And then I'm really honored, we have Enes Cantor Freedom with us.
Mhm.
Enes, if you guys don't know who he is, well, obviously you haven't been around because when I looked him up, I was so impressed. I met him for lunch one time, and everybody in the restaurant, workers and every patron, wanted a picture with the guy, right? So,
Uh,
in the NBA world, he's well loved. He's a former NBA player. You played on four teams, correct?
Five teams total.
5 teams total,
Yep,
okay.
5 teams total.
And, if you look him up, they'll say he's a human rights activist, but he is so much more. He is working on, you fight really for freedom, right? You've even changed your name to Freedom when you became an, American citizen,
Yep.
came here from Turkey. Tell us your story in your words, Ennis. I think our audience are as fascinated as I am.
Right, of course. So, I'm born in Switzerland. I moved to Turkey when I was 1 years old. I grew up east side of Turkey. Literally, it's a cross border to Iran. And I remember I had an amazing childhood because of my family, very well educated. But it was same time, it was the environment that I was growing up in was pretty toxic. And if you are a politician in Middle East, right? And if you want to be elected again, you do a couple things. You attack America, you attack Christian people, and you attack Jewish people. And unfortunately, the base is so uneducated, they believe everything that that comes out of those politicians' mouth. So I was 9 years old. I went downstairs to play with my friends, and I remember my friends, which were not even teenagers, they were burning American flags and they were breaking crosses. And I remember one of my friend gave me a flag to burn it. He gave me a flag, he gave me a lighter and said, burn it. And I remember I looked down, I'm like, this is not a right thing to do. So I threw the flag. I ran upstairs to my mom. I was like, Mom, my friends are telling me to hate America, hate Americans, hate Christian people. What do I do? My mom said, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but do not hate anyone before you meet them. So that day, I give a promise to my mom. I'm not going to hate anyone, right? And then the environment that I was growing up was getting more and more toxic every day. And, my dad was like, enough is enough. You're going to America and you're going to experience yourself. Because in some of the countries in Middle East, in schools, front of classes, you have an American flag. And if you're a student, and if you don't step on those flags, you're not even allowed to attend the class. And you will get bullied the rest of the school year by your classmates, your teachers. So my dad was like, enough is enough. You're going to America. I even remember asking my dad, do you really want me to go to Devil's Nest? And he said, go and see it yourself. So I came to America when I was 17 years old and I started meeting people for the first time and my everything changed. So that's how that was my childhood.
That is, it's amazing. And then as you saw that, the West weren't so bad, and I've really enjoyed the book. I haven't been able to put it down. I read it in the evenings. He's got a book out called, My Name is Freedom.
In the name of
Go
freedom.
check it out.
Yeah.
In the Name of Freedom. Safe. Uh, Go check it out on Amazon. It tells his story,
Mhm.
but it talks about your family, right? And so I'm about to the middle of the book myself, and it we got to the part where your mother said, and you knew this might be the
Mhm.
last time I see my mom, right? I'm like crying through this part, and I remember we even talked a little bit about it at lunch. That
Yeah.
how long has it been since you've seen your mom? What is happening to your family in Turkey as you continue to stand
Ah.
for freedom?
So, little background, I after I got drafted by the NBA, my third year, I started to fight against the dictatorship in Turkey because there was a huge corruption scandal happening in Turkey, and President Erdogan and his family members were involved in it. And that was the first time I came out and said something, and that really bothered the Turkish government. And They sent me a lot of warnings, but I'm like, this is not political. This is literally a human rights issue. So first, they fired my dad. He was one of the biggest scientists in Turkey. Second, my sister went to medical school for 6 years and she still cannot find a job. I think the saddest one was my little brother because he was getting kicked out of every team because of the same last name. So they were getting affected badly so much they had to put a statement out there and said, we are disowning Enes. Turkish government didn't believe that statement. They sent police to my house and they raided the whole house and they took every electronics away, phones, computers, laptops, iPads, because they wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. They couldn't find no evidence, but they still took my dad in jail for a while. But we put so much pressure from America with some of the lawmakers and the media to Turkey. They had to let him go, and then after that, they revoked my passport. They put my name on Interpol list. I am now only allowed to go to 29 countries in the world because my name is on Interpol list. And lastly, around 2 years ago, I had a meeting. I went to Vatican, met the Pope. It was an amazing time. And right after that, they put a bounty on my head. And then as soon as they put a bounty, the FBI called me. We had a conversation and they told me, we don't care where you are, you have to come to America immediately. So it's very interesting. It's very sad because now I have to live with a bounty on my head because just because of I talk about the human rights violations happens in Turkey.
What are you first of all, I'm so sorry. And
Mhm.
how long has it been? So you're not much older than my
Yeah.
oldest son. How long
Mhm.
has it been since you've seen your mom?
Oh, almost 12, getting closer to 13 years. It's tough because they have nothing to do with these. They don't even talk about any of these issues. My mom and my dad is like they're old
Right.
people, you know. But that's another way for. I think the hardest thing when you're fighting against a dictatorship, hardest thing that you go through is what your family has to go through. And it's horrible because when my dad, I have a brother plays basketball overseas, and I have conversation with him, and when I ask him like how was my family doing, and he said like they're not they're not safe. Like my dad went to a mosque and they kicked him out of a mosque. My mom went to a market and spit on her face and say get out of here. So the situation is getting worse and worse every day, and we're trying to bring him over here, but it's hard for them to leave. So because my dad was in jail, so I just hope that they can be saved somehow.
Is the government working with your family to help bring them over? I mean, with all that you've done to speak out on
Mhm.
behalf of freedom and speak out on behalf of this country, the sacrifices that you've made, I mean, is the State Department working with you actively to help bring them over here? I would think they would be.
So when I so around between 2020 and 24, that's when they were getting harassed a lot. I had a conversation with many of the senators, and I remember asking one of the senator. His name is Ron Wyden from Oregon. He was I don't know. I mean, he's I guess my good friend. And I was like, listen, I would like to meet with the President Biden and tell him about my family situation and maybe like trying to bring him over here. And he said he knows your story, obviously. He knows what's going on, but he's not going to meet with you. And I was like, why? He said, well, because of, you know, he's pretty much he's pretty much scared of Erdogan. And I was confused. I was like, "You're talking about the strongest man in the world is scared to meet with a 29-year-old NBA player because of he doesn't want to have a bad relationship with a dictator in Turkey." Is that absolutely? I can't say it out loud, but yes, of course. But it broke my heart, because I'm like, I don't talk about politics because human rights is above politics. I don't care you from the right, you
Right.
from the left, whoever you cheer for. I mean, you have to care about human rights, but we try to bring them over here, but it's just not possible right now.
Have you had a different response with Trump? And I
So,
I don't wanna get too personal on that, but I know that
right, right.
Trump is for freedom, and I
Yep.
believe the Biden administration was more treasonous than it was,
So the,
freedom oriented.
right. So the Trump administration helped me way more. I mean, I'm really good friends with Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio, and he's been helping with so many different things. So I am
Good.
in close touch with them. But it's just hard because it's like at the end, Turkey is a NATO ally, and America needs Turkey because it plays a very important role in NATO. But it just not happening right now. But definitely, you can see the difference and responses between two administration for sure.
I've got to say, I agree with you 100%. There's nothing more important than basic human rights and
Yeah,
foundational freedoms.
right.
And it seems to me that if we as a nation can't recognize that sometimes those standing for those human rights, those
Mhm.
basic human rights are the priority. It seems like we're a little bit misguided on that. I hope that they will stand on this in a more profound way. And I mean, Ennis, I'm sorry I haven't heard your story till today, but
Mhm.
for what it's worth, if there's anything we can do to help you,
I appreciate
we're
it. I know that
it's we're happy to do so.
that means a lot. I appreciate that.
I think all Americans, right, either side of this, whether it's Democrat or Republican, agree with you. And we talked about that a little bit earlier too, and about
Mhm.
even religious. Like we don't have the human rights are human rights, and it even goes above religious preference.
Right.
And we've got to get back to that because that is how we're divided. I believe that when you can divide the people, it makes it easier ground for communism to come in. Um,
Yes.
as you're in America and you're seeing that we're still free to stand up for our rights and we can stand up to our government, we're seeing going away from the Constitution and from what our original rights said we had. Coming from a communist country, what is it that you're seeing? Do you see America headed that way? And what is it that you can pinpoint for those that, I mean, like it's kind of like a boiling pot, right? You don't realize it's getting hotter until all of a sudden it's boiling,
Right.
um, little by little. Go ahead.
So let me just put it this way. I really feel like we are taking our freedom for granted, for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I remember I was playing basketball in NBA, and obviously I just took my citizenship test. I passed it. It was one of the proudest moment in my life, maybe the proudest moment in my life. Um, I remember I walked in a locker room, right? And many of my teammates, they were criticizing America. They were calling it trash. They were calling it a horrible place to live. It was so interesting to me. I was like, guys, our season is about to be over, right? Whenever the season over, I'm gonna buy your first class ticket, and let's just go to some of these countries out there. Let's go to Iran. Let's go to Russia. Let's go to China. Let's go to North Korea, Turkey. Forget about calling it trash. You criticize those governments, you and your family members will be jailed to death. Like they have no idea what other side looks like. They have no idea how blessed they are. But at the same time, we keep bragging about our freedom. I remember I was having this hearing in Washington D.C. Obviously, congressmen and senators they were asking me all kind of questions, right? Because I got kicked out of NBA because of their relationship with China, and I remember they were just asking me all kinds of questions, and at the end they said, "Well, we have last words." I was like, "I don't have. I just have one question for all of you, right? How can the biggest dictatorship in the world, China, can control a 100% American-made organization like the NBA and fire a U.S. citizen?" So for whoever's watching this, if they don't know, I start to criticize the Chinese government for their human rights abuses, right? And then obviously NBA in China have, I believe, $6 billion annually. They make a lot of money from China, and they said enough is enough. You're out of the league. And so I asked these lawmakers, I was like, how can they fire a US citizen? They all looked around and they said, sorry, we don't have any answer for you. So after I got out of the league, right? I started to research. It's not only the NBA. We're talking about NBA, Hollywood, Wall Street, academias, big tech, Congress, even local congresses, farmland. Many of them just run by the Chinese Communist Party, and people have no idea, right? And I was like, we gotta wake up before it's too late. And part of my work, I go around and I organize basketball camps. And whenever I organize these basketball camps, especially in America, I bring Muslims and Christians and Jewish kids together. And after the basketball camp, we usually bring an activist or a priest or somebody, right? And we have these uncomfortable conversations and we talk about coexisting. It's so interesting. Some of the questions I get, especially in America, I promise you, they are anti American questions. They are anti faith, anti God questions. I was like, why would you ask me this question? He said, well, because that's what I seen on TikTok.
Hmm.
All these kids are being brainwashed by their algorithm on apps like TikTok or Instagram. So parents needs to wake up, or we literally there's a growing anti-American, anti-fat, anti-freedom movement is happening in youth, But I just think that parents plays a very important role in our time right now.
That's
I
really
agree.
interesting. That's
Well,
interesting.
the parents have been silenced in a large way. The
Mhm.
public schools, the government schools have convinced the parents that they should have more say than the parents. The doctors try to say we know better than the parents, and they will fight them when they, want to have a different course of medical action for their children. And so it's more than one way where the parental voice in a child's life is being attacked right now. And it's important that we fight for those things because those are, guys, those are founding beliefs, right? That's what our founding fathers meant when they said unalienable rights endowed to us by our creator, just human rights and your rights when you have a child to raise them in the way you think they should go.
From my experiences, I'll just tell one thing because that's what I seen in Turkey. The children belong to the parents, not to governments. Because once they belong to government, right, they they can they can change the education system and they can brainwash these kids, right? Because
Right.
all these dictators want yes men's around them. They don't want a generation that can ask questions. So I just hope that parents are actually invest in their kids and care about their future.
Well, this is the reason it's so important that we're careful about some of the legislation that's being passed. So I do a lot of work in this space, Ennis,
Mhm.
and I think if you have the time and the interest, I'd love to talk with you sometime off air,
Sure.
but and see if we can work together on some things because we see, for example, in California where they're passing bills to allow children to be parts of these transgender clubs and things like that, but blocking their parents from knowing. If you as a parent don't have the right to know what your children are doing, how can you parent them? And the state is trying to take the position of the parents. This is a foundational thing, and it's creep. We see our freedoms being eroded on a day-to-day basis. They're doing it legislatively. They're doing it with the algorithms, which, by the way, why is it that I can go on TikTok and talk as anti-American as I want? But if I mention the CCP or health freedom issues or all these different things, I'm immediately thrown off. Freedom and human rights, including the right to take care of your own children, the right to be healthy and to choose how you take care of your body, the right
Mhm.
to speak freely on issues. These are so foundational, but it's beyond me because we see the people in this country that are criticizing this country seeming to not understand the fact that the only reason they can criticize this country is because of the rights they have here. Whereas, as you said, in China, in Iran, in many of these places, if you spoke like that, you'd be in jail.
That's
Yeah.
right. Dennis, I want to thank you for coming on today. I know that you have another meeting, and so you said you could come on for about this long. You guys go check this book out, In the Name of Freedom. We will put the link out for you. Ennis, I hope you're able to come back and discuss this further. It's really been
Of course.
informative, and we've enjoyed the conversation.
No, I appreciate that. This definitely means a lot to me. I just hope that parents take control. Don't let your kids just, be free and be controlled by these crazy people. So just care about your children, care about the future of our country. And once we do that, we will have the freedom that we want. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. It was great having you with us.
Thank you, Ennis.
Thank you. Okay, Tom. Now you're playing. You're produce. Oh wow, you did it.
Look at me
I'm
go.
proud at you. I'm proud of you. Look at you go.
Look at me go.
He can save the world, guys, and he can also produce a show, which is more than I can do. So that's amazing.
Well, I don't know that I'm doing it well, but we're doing it. We've got so far so good. You know what? That was really, really, really. I'm shocked that I don't know his name and that I haven't met Enes, and I actually really do want to chat with him a little bit afterwards.
Yes.
We've got to bring people like him in,
Yeah.
and we have to help people understand. Because for me, I agree with him. I don't even care whether, to me, the D, the R, and I know that you love the R because you are an R and you're hardcore there. But I mean,
Right.
there's too much uniparty right now. There's
Yeah.
too many R's that aren't acting like R's. And what should really supersede any of this is the ideal of freedom, the Constitution, the protections that our forefathers fought for and died for, and they seem to be being eroded on a profound level. Guys like that are so important because they've seen it from the other side, and he's got a platform, and he had the courage to actually stand.
And it cost, and he knew it was going to cost, and he still said, "Okay." I mean, he goes into his book. He talked to his parents before he left, and he said, "Look, I've got to keep going down this path, but you're going to pay a price, and if you don't want to pay the price, I will be quiet." He gave them that choice, and I mean, you can read about it in the book. It's really phenomenal. They back him. Now, I don't know that they agree with everything he says. I don't know that I mean, they haven't even been in contact for years. So where they stand right now, I don't know. They're in Turkey, and he's not in contact with them, and so I don't know where they're currently at. But they raised somebody that's willing to stand up for what's right, no matter the cost, and that's powerful.
Well, it is. I mean, the guy's a hero, right? I
Yeah.
mean, a hero is being willing to stand for others and stand for what's right in the face of adversity, right? It's real easy to sit out and go out and do a stump speech. Hey, I believe in freedom. But until you're faced with paying a cost for it, you can't become a hero. Once you've paid a price for standing for something that you believe in and doing the right thing, that's how you become a hero. And he literally lost a multi-million dollar career to stand up for something. I mean, most of us won't even take the time to click like or share. This guy gave up an entire multi-million dollar career to stand for something that was right. I mean, that guy, everybody should know that guy's name.
Yeah, no, he's a definitely a Goliath, and not just he's big too. I mean, but he's a Goliath in the world. He's big, man. He's got a big heart. He's got a big he's got the backbone it takes that we really need from people. I respect him, and he's got the highest amount of integrity. And he was actually I met him through a mutual friend of ours, Senator Shane Jett, who also is a man full of integrity.
Oh, I
And
love Shane.
so I do too. And so we have these it's just integrity, integrity, integrity. And this guy is so tall. So he got to the restaurant before I did, so I went and sat down across from him. And when he stood up, I kept going. He's 6'10". He's very tall. I guess you would be as an NBA player.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've ran into a few of those. I've got a couple partners because I'm doing some business. Actually, I'm a partner in, and I haven't really talked too much about this publicly, but I've taken on a partnership in a wellness company where we're using micro and nanocurrent technologies and other energy-based healing to really to help people feel better and to be better and to heal. And we're actually just this week launching. We're going to franchise that company out around the country. But my partners in that, a guy named Cameron Lowe, who's a retired MLB pitcher, his brother Cody Lowe, who is a retired Olympic volleyball player, and then another guy. He's in athletics, but wasn't a pro. KJ Strutz. And it's funny because Charity, when you stand with me, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'4", about 250.
Yes, you are. Yes.
But it's funny because in that room, I'm the little guy.
Wow.
KJ 6'6", Cameron 6'8", and his brother's 6'10". So it's funny. You take a picture of the four of us standing together, you'd think I was the little guy, but we're all pretty big dudes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, you're not a little guy, that's for sure. I get to see you this weekend, Tom, in person.
I'm very excited.
I'm very excited too. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I'm leaving very early in the middle of the night, kind of Thursday morning.
Okay.
and I'll be there till Sunday. I'm leaving very, very early in the middle of the night Sunday because it's Father's Day and I want to see my kids.
Yes.
So, but I am very excited to come down to Oklahoma, and hopefully we can
Absolutely.
come up with some time and figure out some things to do to cause a little
We'll
trouble
figure
down there.
that out for sure. Absolutely. It's going to be so much fun. It'll be, the band's back together. We're going to get to see everybody again. It's been a while. I look
Well,
forward.
and you get to get on stage this one. You're a big shot now.
I get to, whatever. There was one other one I got to get on stage, but that was somebody brought me on stage with him. That was Dr. Simone Gold brought me up with her but yeah, no, this time I'm speaking as the GOP chair. So that should be interesting.
Which I'm so proud of you, Charity. I'm so proud of you. For anybody, I know you guys watch the show, you know who Charity is, but I'm going to tell you guys, I consider Charity a sister. She's family to me. I got her back. And to see what Charity's done and to see her, just being a volunteer at Frontline Doctors and helping with this and helping with that, and working so hard and earning the position. And there's no glory in the state committee chair position, but it's such a critical position. It's not like she's making the big bucks. It's not like she's, because Charity's honest, so she doesn't get won't take buy-offs.
Honest politics doesn't pay. Just got to tell you.
No, you'd be rich as hell if you were a crook. But I'm so proud of you because you've been honest. You've worked your way into a position where you've got the ability to make an impact, and it's in one of the most important states in the union. The reddest state in the union now has a Republican chair that can't be bought and that is literally trying to fight for freedom and do the right thing every day. Man, I'm so proud of you. I just
that just means a lot. Means a lot coming from you, Tom, because you've taken down some pretty big guys, and you've risked everything and given everything for our fight. And we're both fighting for something so much bigger than us. And it's the patriots. It's the people that participate, the people that watch, the people that make the phone calls and have the conversations and go to the meetings.
Yeah.
If we're not all doing our part, everything we do is pointless. We will get nowhere if we don't do it together. And so it's really, it takes all of us. And it's not just those of us that get handed a mic. It takes all of the patriots. God has called every one of you, put you on the earth right now for a reason. And you see what's going on, you're awake. It's because you're supposed to do something about it. And I believe many people that watch this broadcast are. And so thank you to all the patriots out there, because I think we're winning. I'm seeing a turn.
Well,
so
we're winning some, we're losing others, but the fight is what's important. I mean, you remember 6 years ago when they started the lockdowns and they came at us, it was a mess. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody expected this could ever happen in America. Now, just with regards to the COVID jabs, right? 20% of Americans lost friends, lost families, lost jobs, lost loved ones to stand for what was right and what they knew was truthful. And so 20% of 360 million people, that's 60 to 70 million people. That's a lot of people.
That lost, I think it's higher than that, because I think there's people now that have gotten jabbed and they're dying of heart disease, of different issues that are because they were jabbed, but they will never give the jab the reason. All of the kids that are in the neonatal units, that's exploded. It's never been like that before 5 years ago. Now there are so many kids that have to be in the neonatal units until they're even a year old. I mean, I know several people myself, and it's like, you guys, this is not 1 and 1 is 2. Yeah. This all started around the jab.
Yeah. Well, the jab and the lockdowns and J6 and the stolen 2020 election woke people up. And, it's profound because God decided that he would allow me to have a mic. And he decided that he would, build you up where you've got a mic. And he took a few of us and gave us opportunities to do things. And right now, I guess one of the things that I would want to share with people, because I haven't been on with Freedom Brigades here in a minute, and I've been a little bit more under the radar lately. And it's not because I'm not fighting, it's because I'm building. We know that there are certain fights coming that are going to be really bad. The track and trace is moving ahead full steam. The digital prison is being built out. Health freedom is still very, very much at risk. We still see these COVID vaccines on the market, and we still see the just trillions of dollars of investment money going into mRNA and other unsafe platforms that we know are problems. So what we're doing right now is there's a group of us, there's a few of us, not a ton, who realize what's going to happen and where things are going. Because, Donald Trump at most is here for 4 years. And even under Donald Trump, this stuff is continuing. If this is their pause, think how bad it's going to be if we get a Democrat back in the White House. Think how bad it's going to be with a Democrat majority, which is part of the reason I'm so hard on the Republicans right now. Because if they don't lead as Republicans, what happens is the independents who were very excited about MAGA and MAHA will stay home. They feel like there's no one to vote for. And they don't want to vote for the lesser of two evils. They want to vote for fighters. They want to vote for people who will stand for what's right and who will do good things. So right now, I get a lot of guff. Renz, why are you so hard on Trump? Why are you so hard on the Republicans? Because we can't go back to Biden. We can't. Right. And if our Republicans won't lead, the independents who formed a coalition to support Donald Trump in 2024, they did it precisely because they wanted fighters who would take out the swamp, who would clean up the corruption, who would do these things. And if we don't take a very aggressive approach to this, we can't keep making friends with people like Lindsey Graham, with John Thune, who won't pass the SAVE Act, who's trying to push FISA. Nobody likes FISA. Everybody likes the SAVE Act. But guess which one he's pushing? Because he's a deep state sellout piece of crap. He is not a Republican. I'm sorry. There's nothing Republican about that guy. No recess appointments for Trump because he's literally playing procedural games to make sure that these guys don't get appointed. And when I'm hard on these guys, when I'm pushing, it's because the writing's on the wall. People got out and voted because they wanted a fighter to fight to drain the swamp. And unless there's active fighting, people are going to stay home. And then we go back to a Biden regime. We go back to the worst case scenario. We don't have a choice but to push our guys to be aggressive, to have a spine, and to quit acting like a bunch of wussies. They've got to stand.
I agree. Our people do have to stand. I will say that whether you do or don't agree with Trump, we could have had Kamala. Come on, man. Like, I mean, we still got the best end of this deal, and he's done a lot of amazing. The backbone that he's shown, I think, has been phenomenal. Not everybody agrees with what is it? 80% is what Ronald Reagan said. If you agree with him 80% of the time, so I don't know. But no, I agree 100% with you that we have to be strong. And, I endorsed in races in Oklahoma. And as the state chair, you're not supposed to do that.
Which is ridiculous. How can a Republican state chair not have the authority to endorse? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, and you do. They just said you don't. I'm like, well, cite the rule. They couldn't cite the rule. I'm like, okay, then otherwise we're going to end up with rhinos. So, I mean, the status quo is not working. So we need to change the game and quit worrying about whether or not it's being played according to the rules. The rules are not working, guys. So anyway,
if someone is running as a Republican,
and
they are not aligned with Republican principles, and you as the state chair are not willing to say something about that, then you're negligent in your duty. I think what you did was amazing. It was courageous, and it was the right thing to do. And I hope that it sets a precedent and we start seeing more of it, because what we have right now is the Republican Party refuses to speak on anything. They just endorse, whoever can win. Well, listen, that's putting party name over principle. We need to put principle first, then people will support the party. They're not going to support a party that stands for whatever the guy that wins gets, because right now the Democrats have figured this game out. So what they do is they throw a bunch of money into primaries, and primaries are a lot cheaper to buy than a general election. I mean, we see that all over the country. So we need Republican leaders who will stand for Republican principles. And if we don't have that, then I'm sorry, you're a piss poor leader.
I agree with you on that. That being said, we do have a little thing in Oklahoma right now where the guy I endorsed got caught up doing some stuff personally, but his wife, it's a mutual friend. I guess you didn't know about all that, Tom.
I heard a little bit.
Yeah, but I've stayed silent because he came clean to his wife. There was, from my understanding, nothing physical that happened. It was all texting, and he on his own he came clean to his wife. He apologized. So he repented and he turned from his ways.
Yeah.
I don't think that, and then he cut off contact with the woman. So I personally think that he's still the guy for Congress because I don't think that's going to affect. We saw his backbone during COVID. We've seen how he has made the other decisions. I think that between him and his wife, she's forgiven him. I don't see why we don't too.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, if my ability to do what's right for this country or to fight for what's right or wrong hinged on me being Jesus, we're in trouble because I ain't Jesus. I love Jesus. I try to be like Jesus, but I'm going to tell you right now, I fail pretty profoundly on a regular basis. Yeah, and I don't think I was a normal person who did normal people. I went to work, I did my job, went home, did my thing for most of my life. Then all of a sudden COVID hit. And let me tell you a story about this. I go from a guy who never missed. I didn't miss a practice, a soccer practice that my kids went to. I missed nothing. I love my kids so much. I was at everything. Then all of a sudden I wake up and I'm faced with a situation. Nobody's doing anything. And I'm a lawyer and I've got some ideas about how to do this. So I have two options. I can fight tyranny so my kids have a future, or I can keep going to soccer practice if they ever open it back up.
Right.
Well, my kids don't have a future. There is no soccer practice. So I chose to fight for not just my kids, but for every kid that I could fight for.
Yeah.
You know what that meant? And I'm going to tie this back to Jackson because I think Jackson's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
What that meant was I suddenly went from a guy who's living a normal life to spending 50% of my time on a plane. I see my kids maybe 50% of the time. We talk every day. I've missed prayers. I say prayers with my kids via phone wherever I'm at, and I've missed one in the last 6 years, and it was because I was stuck on a plane. They wouldn't let me off to say prayers before bed, and it was super, super late by the time I got off. And just that one time I've missed it. I've walked out of meetings with everybody. I've done everything I could to still be a good dad. But I'm going to tell you, if you live a normal life, you really have no idea what it means to have groups like Big Pharma, to have a hit piece on you from the New York Times or the Washington Post, to have people send you death threats with pictures of your family, for people to send you to show up at your house or to follow you here or to follow you there and to make real threats. Until you've experienced that, you don't understand what kind of pressures those are. And they do. You end up breaking a little bit as a human being. I'm not as good a man as I was before this started. I'm not. I've fought harder. I've given everything, but I'm not as good a man, and I have made plenty of mistakes. For someone to judge Jackson, who's been forgiven by his wife and who's done everything he can to turn this around, means that they have absolutely no comprehension of what it means to take a stand on a national or international basis for issues that matter to this world and then to go fight for them, because that fight will break you down no matter how strong you are. And that's when you really get to know Jesus, because that's when you realize how much you need his forgiveness, because we're not as strong as he is and we make mistakes.
Right. Well, and Jackson, he didn't get caught. He came to his wife and reconciled. This is old news in their family. They're pulling the scab off to pull it out right before election. It's very personal. He's still going to fight against sex trafficking of the kids. He's still going to be fighting for our borders. He's still going to be fighting for election integrity. He's going to be fighting CCP from getting farmland. He's going to still fight strong for the issues that we need him to fight for. The personal thing between him and his wife that they were working through before this went public, I don't believe affects that.
Well, absolutely, it does not in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. And more importantly, let me ask my Christian brothers and sisters here, because I know y'all in Oklahoma are a whole other level of special. I mean, hey, I'm going to come down. Let's do an event. Well, we can't do it Wednesday. What?
That's right.
It's church night. Wednesday? What?
Yes.
Most of the country doesn't know what that means.
Yes.
So, but let me ask you, because, I'll never forget this, Charity. I want to tell a story. I was doing a speech, and it was at a church event, and it was a big event. There were a lot of people there, and I was doing a speech, and I stood up on the stage, and I acknowledged the fact that I'm a sinner, right? And unless you're Jesus, I'm pretty sure every single person listening to me is a sinner. I'm hoping Jesus is listening, but
He's listening.
Outside of that, I don't know anybody else that's ever done it perfect. So guess what? You're a sinner. So I get done. And a very sweet lady comes up to me And she was sweet, and she was very much, you could see, she was just one of these people that oozes godliness, right? Probably a much better person than me. And she says, Mr. Renz, it was a wonderful speech, but I can't believe that you're a sinner. And I looked at her, I said, are you Jesus? And she says, well, no. I said, well, then so are you. And shouldn't we acknowledge that and then try to be better? Shouldn't that be the way we do it? And then shouldn't we as Christians forgive each other? Because as Christ said, let he who's without sin throw the first stone. Well, I assure you, I can't throw the first stone. I am a broken human being who's sinned, who's made mistakes, who's done bad things. So for my Christian brothers and sisters, let me remind you, the Bible doesn't tell us that we should castigate each other for making mistakes. We're supposed to forgive each other and then help each other be better. We're supposed to let God judge our souls, and our job is to help each other be as godly as we can, not to judge or to castigate or to outcast someone who's made a mistake, especially someone who then acknowledges a personal mistake within their family and does it right. So for me, anybody that's going to judge him really needs to take a good look in the mirror and remember, hey, cast out the log in your own eye before working the mote in your neighbor's.
Well, and the Bible says that, how that's handled is you go to the person that's sinning. If they repent and turn from their ways, then it's forgiven and you move on. And nobody even had to go to him. He went to his wife.
Well,
I'm not interested in getting into the middle of that. I'm really not.
no,
He'll still
no.
be an incredible congressman. And so anyway,
But you know what, Charity? That is what it says, but that's if they sin against you.
That's right.
That's not if they have a personal
I
issue
sin
with
against someone else. That's correct.
between his wife, him, and God. And if they're good, we're good. And the idea that you're gonna judge this guy or not vote for him over something like that means you need to take a good look at your own Christian faith, because that means that you're judging a man who's done right by this to the best of his ability and did no different than anybody else who does make mistakes. Everybody does. Vote Jackson. This is nonsense. This is a Democrat trope to try and hit him in the election. It's absolute garbage. This guy should be the U.S. Senator from Oklahoma. We need a good, godly man like this who's done his best in every single case and who will kick butt in the U.S. Senate.
Well, he did make the runoff, so he's going to be in the runoff now between him and another guy. So we'll see how it goes. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. Tom, if somebody breaks into my house and I have to shoot them, right? Which if you break into my house with my kids here, I'm going to shoot you.
Absolutely.
You go to jail first, right? Because you're guilty until proven innocent, because that's another right that we've lost. But if you get U.S. Law Shield, which you can get on freedombrigades.com, U.S. Law Shield has an attorney on hand that will come and meet you right then. You will not leave with the police. They will defend you all the way to the end for all 2A rights. This is in all 50 states. If you go to uslawshield.com and you say that you got this from the brigades, you will get a special discount. We've got to be mindful. We've got to be smart with what we're doing. And you guys take back your community. Join the Freedom Brigades if you haven't already. It's 4 hours a month of your time to take back your community. When you take back your community, that's how we take back the republic. Tom, thank you for filling in for Andrea today. I've missed you. I can't wait to hang out this weekend. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.